weather condition in Bhutan is, and for entire whole day we are out of electricity and the internet is on and off. So please bear with me in case if I go off when I speak. So yeah, but I'm joining from my phone right now, so I had a hard time in joining. Finally, I'm in.
We are so glad that you're able to join in. And I think one of the primary reasons that we really want to drive green hydrogen is to make sure that that this country goes on 100% electricity for the 365 days. But thank you for joining. I think without much delay, Namzil, in that case, we will start with our dialogue and discussion today. First of all, wishing you all from the land of India a happy Deepavali, which is a festival of lights. And I remember while we were there in the Green Hydrogen Assembly back in Barcelona, we recalled on how it is a literal journey from the darkness to light in taking up the green hydrogen. And I think it's such a monumental day for all of us to come together in the sidelines of COP27, which will be driving the key agendas forward. And we will hear more about it from Jonas, from Ravi, and even Chichoba, who is joining from Nigeria and Bhutan. I think it is so instrumental to realize that today on this occasion, on the request of Young Professionals Foreign Policy, which is a youth-led NGO based in Tokyo, is officially mandated by United Nations to organize a local conference of youth, which is called the LCOY for Japan. And Youth for Green Hydrogen is one of the partnering organizations to organize this side event on skilling youth for green hydrogen. All the discussions that we will have today will also be brought together and be presented on the 10th of November in the COP27 by the FYPF community as well. And it is an interesting day as well to understand that as we are partner of LCOY, which is of course an umbrella of YOUNGO, the official youth constituency of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. It is before the Conference of Parties, the COP that we know of, the annual UN Climate Conference. We are hosting this side event and contributing our efforts to the COP27. So once again, thank you to each one of you for joining in at also odd timings at this festive seasons as well, because it only shows all of our commitment to energy transition and the youth and the intergenerational leadership in driving climate solutions forward. Of course, we will have some of the thoughts to share on how and the leadership and the works of Youth for Green Hydrogen. But before that, we have the CEO of the mother organization that we happily and proudly proclaim, which is the Green Hydrogen Organization, Mr. Jonas Moberg. And to all our viewers who will be watching us, Jonas Moberg is of course the CEO of the Global Green Hydrogen Organization. And from 2018 to 21, he had held several positions at Trafigura, including as the global head of corporate affairs and the global head of government affairs. Prior to building the ET, Jonas was a senior advisor in the executive office of UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, director at the Prince of Wales International Business Leaders Forum, and the member of the Swedish Foreign Service posted to London and Maputo. He holds a law degree from the London School of Economics and the University of Stockholm. Jonas, we would like to hear more on your thoughts on why it is important for youth leadership in taking this green hydrogen forward, and why do you feel that the green hydrogen is the world's next energy needs?
Well, thank you, Sailesh. It's very kind of you, and it's great to be spending a little bit of time with you all guys. And I want to keep it brief. I think I would almost prefer to answer if you have any questions. But let me say a couple of things. I think the first very quick reflection is that whenever society has been through rapid change, whenever it has been, we've seen the Industrial Revolution, we've seen the introduction of steam, of digital technologies, and so on and so forth. There are a couple of things that stand out. And it's one of them is that it has to a large extent been driven by young people. That young people have been faster at latching on to the new technologies or the new industrial society that we've entered into. And my guess is that we will see that even more on this occasion, because you are probably also not only the ones that are latching on to the new, but also the ones that are going to be most concerned and most angry with the fact that the current model doesn't work and that it's broken and that we are heading in totally the wrong way. And that climate change is urgent and it needs outsized solutions. So I think that would be huge amounts of hope in that sense. Now, something that Sailesh and I have discussed several times is that, and where I think it's interesting with you guys is it's partly about that anger and compassion over that things are wrong, but it's also, of course, because this is where the opportunity lies. So another way to look at it is to say, this is where, this is both something to be passionate about in terms of changing society, but it's also something to be passionate about because this is where a lot of the future job opportunities and so will lie. Let me therefore explain a little bit of what I mean when we talk about green hydrogen. The first thing is that I think we use, I should actually say, large-scale renewable energy and green hydrogen economy, because that's what we're talking about. And what we mean by that is the fact that we are at the cusp of a massive breakthrough, and it's going to happen very quickly, where we are moving from obviously using fossil fuels, which we need to stop doing, and to some extent use green hydrogen. And the basics are fairly straightforward, which is that, actually I can show you this. Bear with me. If I know how to, how do I, where do I, here. Oh, I'm disabled. Okay, never mind. Anyway, essentially what is going to, don't worry, essentially what's going to happen is, if you can plug anything into the renewable grid, you're going to do so and will use electricity. If you can put a battery on some things, you should probably do that too. But if you can't put a battery onto it or put it into the grid, you're very likely to use green hydrogen. So this is what we illustrate here. Now, that outer ring, essentially, we think is going to be up to a quarter of global energy use. So how are we going to use that hydrogen? We're going to use it to create fertilizers instead of using gas as feedstock. We're going to use it for really long-haul transport with heavy trucks, where lots of it is going to be used as green ammonia to propel ships across the international seas. And we're going to use lots of it also to produce steel. Today, we produce steel by adding cooking coal, essentially coal, into the furnace with iron ore. And in the future, that is going to be replaced with steel, with green hydrogen. Now, I show this because one of the things that you're going to see then is that it's not just about a matter of changing a little bit of how we produce energy. We're actually going to redraw the industrial landscape. We're going to move where we produce steel. We're going to move where we produce fertilizers. And that will move other things. It will mean that we will use different ports. It's going to restructure things in a very fundamental way. And that is, of course, incredibly exciting and is going to require huge amounts from our society, and everything from those industries to how we plan, how we permit, how we fund things in our society. All of these things are going to be changed because of this. So I guess my main starting point to you all is, great if you choose this as an area to work in and care for. It's going to be both. It's going to be your generations that is going to drive this change, and it's going to be a very exciting journey. And it's going to be exciting on the private sector side, on the civil society side, and in governments. It doesn't really matter, because, as I said, all of them are going to increasingly focus on these things. Salish, as I said, I'll try to keep it short, and Brother would be very happy to take some questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jonas, for that. Any one of you, if you would like to have or have some doubts for Jonas, or want to know more about green hydrogen, or maybe how you can also plan to set up your own plant. As Jonas says, that it is not just passion for changing the society, but it's also the skill sets and the jobs that will be created. Any questions that anyone may have?
Come on, guys.
Yes. It is very nice that we also have Ravi, who was a former senior UN Women Advisor and is currently also the global advisor to a very big drone company, and is, of course, the co-founder also for the Youth for Green Hydrogen. As I said, Jonas, the intergenerational partnerships, he is that in the middle, sandwiching between Eric and me. Ravi, over to you.
Thank you very much. And Jonas, very nice to meet you in person. But just a very important point that you made about green jobs. And I've been doing a lot of research and with some folks to really define more concretely, what is the green economy? And as you very correctly said, we are in this energy crisis, and the opportunity cannot be better than what we have right now. So if you could just lay down from a young person's perspective, what are the skill sets? What are the youth entrepreneurship opportunities that lay ahead around the world? Because the fourth industrial revolution cannot be a revolution unless and until it's green, and absolutely, as you said, committed to a green economy. So I'm very eager to hear some of those important points.
That's a hard one. I guess we see throughout our societies that we lack people who are doing science degrees and engineering and so on. And in fact, I think, India, of course, does reasonably well in that aspect, and has been for the last decade or two been exporting engineers across the world, and also, of course, some of the remarkable growth in tech and some other areas in India in recent decades has been because of that. So you're doing reasonably well. I guess that to some extent, the more we have raw data and raw information constantly available through internet and so on, the more important it becomes how we present it, how we use it, how we manage. So I do think that some of the softer skills as well will become increasingly important in communicating, in being able to listen, in being able to process and manage, but essentially based on the assumption that any information will be easily accessible. So focus a little bit less on being able to learn some things by heart or whatever, and a little bit more on the managerial abilities and skills in which to use that information in a professional context. I guess also having worked in government, having worked for the UN, having worked for angry NGOs, having worked for large fossil fuel companies, and in things in between, I think I am, one of the overall experiences is that things are relatively similar, actually, in some ways. It's the same skills that we put a premium on in most sectors and in most parts of life. So I don't think that the differences are that great. Maybe it's more a question of as I've said, of trying to pick up early on in life skills that are very sort of useful in a job setting. And surely we do that by, being interns, by doing small projects that over time grow to bigger things.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I raised my hand. I'll be given a mic. So can I raise my question here?
Yes, please go ahead, Ms. Yen.
Yes, my name is Ian. I'm from the Social Business Creation, and my question is, I'm wondering about the challenges, the main challenges to implement a green hydrogen project in India and in other countries, according to your knowledge.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've been running a campaign for 100 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030. So a different way to look at it is to say, what do you need for that to happen? We need huge amounts of solar PVs. We need huge amounts of wind turbines. We need huge amounts of engineering and plants to convert to ammonia and all sorts of things. And we need planning and permitting. We need laws that are fit for this revolution. So there you have three big challenges. Maybe the last one would be funding. We need lots of money to make this happen. That I could give you as a fourth one.
Yeah, Ms. Yen.
Okay, got it.
Jonas, I have a quick thought, and if you could address that, how do you feel that young people of 25, 26 can really contribute to the energy transition? Because, of course, we all have been talking about the skill sets, but how do you feel those skill sets could be prepared? One is, of course, campaigning and awareness and advocacy that we all have been doing. How would the organization, the Green Hydrogen Organization, also have some campaign preparing for training or the skilling up of young people in taking forward the green hydrogen?
Come on, Salish, I'm here now. Look, the more the merrier. Bring it on. Work out what you're interested in, work out what you're good at, and then try to perfect that and be the best in that space. That's what I would go for. That will take you a very long way, always in life. And you are, as I've said, fortunate, because what matters most to you also matters most to the whole world. The climate and your future are aligned here, and you can really, I think, you should be able to find jobs and future careers that are incredibly interesting and that takes you on a journey just as they are doing good work. So that would be my total, simple, straightforward message, Salish. I would also just lastly add, and again, something that Salish and I have spoken much about, campaigning is great, campaigning for change is great, but you're doing one more thing. You are proposing a solution. If you say we need a green hydrogen economy, you're not only saying we need to stop with what we're doing, you're also saying these are some of the paths that we believe in. And that's quite a different message, but an equally important one, which I think is worth thinking about.
I think what you say is so absolutely true. I think going with what you say of the 100 million tons of green hydrogen to be produced by 2030, the current market size is just $3 billion on the green hydrogen. And by 2030, it is expected to rise over $60 billion. And I think it is only with young people's participation, with your inspirational words and encouraging words to do what we love to do, and future is bright. So thank you so much, Jonas, for your thoughts. And it is also very interesting to realize that it is just not the passion of changing the society, but passion of moving forward, campaigning with an absolute solution, which of course the Green Hydrogen Organization have been mentoring the entire Youth for Green Hydrogen in taking that forward. In the same cue, Jonas, and to all others who are joining here, as we expand the Youth for Green Hydrogen movement across the world now, today is very encouraging for all of us to share that we are also launching the Japanese translation declaration, which of course was launched back in the assembly in Barcelona. And we have the Japanese translation, which is now getting launched today, which will help us in expanding our movement in Japan, because the drive today that we did was majorly for driving our efforts in Japan in making sure that we localize the green hydrogen in the subject that they understand. So just a quick launch, and then we'll go over for Bhutan. So this is the Youth for Green Hydrogen communique, which we had back in the assembly. And now today, the first language that we launched is the green hydrogen in Japanese. And we also have Simran Sinha, who has joined in from the organization, who was also there in this declaration back then. Now, we will quickly have Namzele Bhutan. Namzele happens to be serving the Department of Forest and Park Services for more than 8 years in the Bhutan. Currently, she's also working with the Royal Thimphu College, which is the Bhutan's first and only accredited college as an international relations officer, looking after various international programs and European Union projects and partnerships. Namzele has her bachelor's in English and environmental sciences from Bhutan, and then master's in business administration from the University of Canberra, Australia. Namzele, who has joined in, would also be driving and leading the efforts of the Youth for Green Hydrogen in Bhutan, and also be monumental in driving the partnership with the Royal Thimphu College. Namzele, if we have you, could we have you please share your thoughts on why you feel that it is so important to drive the green hydrogen in Bhutan?
Okay, can you hear me? Sorry, I'm okay. First of all, it's a privilege to be part of this one of the biggest project called Youth for Green Hydrogen. I personally would like to thank Youth for Green Hydrogen and Salish yourself for contacting me to start this program in Bhutan. Bhutan and RTC, especially Bhutan, has received this good opportunity to be part of this project, and we look forward to work with the society closely in addressing the issues on climate change, which is one of the major and concerned not only in Bhutan but across the world. And Bhutan being the small country, keeping in the loop with COP27 is one of the biggest opportunity that we have. And since I'm working in one of the universities in the country, so we have our school youths who are also concerned about the global warming, climate change. So I think to me, what I believe is that Youth for Green Hydrogen is one of the best platform and opportunity, especially for youth like us and our students at the college and students in entire schools in Bhutan to educate and provide an awareness about the green hydrogen, climate change. And I think this platform is going to provide an equal opportunity for all the youths, not only youths, but also the local leaders, community people to come together and work together to address these issues. So as we have signed this advocate agreement and the MOUs with the green hydrogen project, we look forward to closely work with the society to achieve the mission and vision of the Youth for Green Hydrogen. Thank you for this opportunity.
Namzil, thank you so much for accepting and driving and exploring the green hydrogen as an alternative fuel sources by advocating in Bhutan and making sure that the Royal Thimphu College also comes on board. I think it is very, very interesting and happening to understand how Bhutan, of course, is a small country, but is exploring rapidly on the green hydrogen project. I was reading on how crucial it is, and while we were also speaking initially on the essentials that the Bhutan somehow goes off electricity because of the lack of power and energy. At certain point, it's become so difficult, and it is good that as one of the largest private universities of Bhutan, drives to make sure that you get all the stakeholders on board in taking that forward. I think that was very interesting, and it is and big congratulations to you and welcome to the family of the Youth for Green Hydrogen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sailesh.
Chandan, would we have the launch video, please? Welcoming Namzil on board, and we will also have another college in the Royal Thimphu College's MOU signing launch video as well. Thank you so much once again to the entire team of Royal Thimphu College in your leadership in coming on board. We now have someone from Nigeria who was of course appointed as an advocate a few months back, and she has been driving her efforts rapidly in taking the Youth for Green Hydrogen movement in Nigeria. Chichoba Nizoka, she's a member of the ACE and the Renewable Energy Working Group in YOUNGO, which is the youth constituency for UNFCCC. Her experiences and interest in the climate justice and renewable energy systems has made her join the group, of course. In the past, she also had an opportunity to participate and work with the ACE hackathon in Bonn that focused on innovative solutions for clean energy at the local level, where she represented even the Youth for Green Hydrogen. As a delegate at the Regional Conference of Youths Africa, she made her extraordinary contribution on energy, agriculture, and youth participation and innovation in the leadership of energy transition. Chichoba, we will have your quick remarks on this special and quick day. Chichoba? So we will maybe move on to the next speaker, and then we will have Chichoba back. Of course, as our focus have been completely driving towards creating an intergenerational partnerships, we have Mr. Ravi Karkara. We are angry about a lot of things as young people, and we want to create that change and make sure that there is absolute solutions that can be driven. And when we say that, back in the March, when we launched the Youth for Green Hydrogen from India, we brought in making sure that there's an intergenerational partnerships that is developed and created. And of course, we have Eric, myself, and Ravi as co-founders in driving that. And there were more than 70 plus countries who came together in taking that forward. And we see more and more youth leadership coming up and driving and taking that ahead. In the same lines, we have Mr. Ravi Karkara, who is a former senior advisor at the UN Women, has worked extensively on sustainability, is of course staying in the New York, in the States, and driving efforts in women leadership through STEM and energy transition, which is one of the key areas that he drives. So, Mr. Ravi, over to you, please.
Namaste to everyone. It's a great honor to be here and finally, be part of this very, very important initiative. I really want to congratulate Sailesh and the Youth for Green Hydrogen team and all the various chapters across the world. And also a lot of congratulations to Bhutan, which has been leading the sustainability actions across the world. So grateful that we have this important launch today, and also very, very grateful to the GH2 Secretariat for supporting Sailesh and championing him to take on important measures. And of course to Jonas and colleagues who really have demonstrated that youth leadership is central to driving a green economy. Just a very few things to say. One, I would really like to reiterate the importance of reskilling, upskilling, and also green skilling. I think for us, it is really important as we are sitting today in on 25th of October 2022 to really look at the various skill sets. A recent study that was conducted by LinkedIn to look at what are the future possibilities for young people. Green skills emerged as one of the most important area that really needs a lot of attention, which really means first the realization that we still live in a world where climate denial is persuasive, where people think everything will be all right. I live in New York, and I must say that last year where I stay, there were 12 feet of water. And Sailesh knows the story that wherever you are, from India to Nigeria, and Nigeria also had unfortunately lots of floods, Japan. So this is a reality of today. But the second reality that is in front of us, either we go on a strike and hold a placard, or just say that we must support youth-led initiatives and actions and networks that will define a new world as we're moving into a world which will become sustainable. Now that's another thing to worry about. When the UN launched the People's Goals, which are the Sustainable Development Goals, by people, for people, and for the planet, I think I get so worried because I had the fortunate possibility to provide some support in that process. But 2022, we are 8 years away from accomplishing the Sustainable Development Goals. We are nowhere near it. And the last 2 years have taken the world back in various indicators: poverty, unemployment, education, green action, and so on and so forth. So it is something to be more than worried. I mean, people need to lose their sleep over it. But one important opportunity any challenge gives us is a possibility of creating opportunities. So I think if you go back to the declaration in Barcelona, which is such an important declaration, was a very clear calling that we need to build more and more young people to come together across the world to share innovation in skill transformation, skill development, and reskilling in a green economy. Second, I think we also need to provide opportunity and spaces where youth-led innovations for solutions for green hydrogen need to really be nestled, supported, and elevated to the next level. And third would be really to look at all the investments across the world, which very clearly tell us that if we really, I mean, just take the example of BlackRock, which is $1 trillion fund here based in New York, where the CEO made a very clear commitment saying that we need to ensure that the next wave of investment startups really need to look at the green economy. So I think the opportunities are immense, and Sailesh, along with many of us, are planning to hold probably an Asia conference that Sailesh has really been championing, to really look at coming down to practicalities. We can talk, we can do everything, but ultimately, what do we really need? How do young people create skills that are employable? How do young people become the entrepreneurs of a sustainable green world right now, today? And of course, my talk is always incomplete unless I bring a very clear gender perspective and make sure that young women, young people who belong to minority groups, indigenous young people really need to be, rural young people need to be part and parcel of this process. And last, I would like to quote this amazing young woman who spoke in the first, in the World Environment Day when we organized the Youth Skills Initiative. And she said, I'm looking for a day when a young woman in a village can run her own green hydrogen plant, which is inexpensive. And that green hydrogen plant will supply the energy to the farmland, to the school, and to all the women and the men who should be cooking at home and really running the village economy. So if that is what we want to do, I think we really need to ensure that young people are part of parcel of this. And of course, again, wish you a very happy Diwali. You can see I'm still wearing my beautiful Indian clothes. I have to go down to my daughter's school where they're holding a Diwali get together. So thank you so much. It's a great honor to be finally here and speaking to all of you. And thank you so much, Sailesh, for including me in your quest and in your journey and really inspiring the world to really take transformational steps so that we achieve a green economy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi, for that message. And I think it is so important when you highlighted the youth-led innovation, the financing and the investing that has to happen. And the third, very crucial, the inclusion of indigenous communities along with women in this entire process of green hydrogen economy is so crucial. I think it was Sneha back in June when she remarked so importantly that the green hydrogen economy cannot just sustain in the urban cities. We really have to go to the villages and bring an inclusive movement towards making sure that the women and the young girls are also trained in this entire energy transition process, because we cannot repeat the same mistake. I remember very categorically having the honor to work with you in your leadership and mentorship and guidance back in 2015 for the Sustainable Development Goals, and where you made sure to remark that how important that when we transit from MDGs to SDGs, we don't repeat the same mistake of not including young people. And it was you and your able office that made sure that the inclusion happened. And you drove that forward. And I think once again, we are at the same crossroads where the energy transition cannot be completed without young people, without young girls, without the inclusion of indigenous communities. A very beautiful report by Brookings and Irena suggests that the entire energy transition discourse is living out the potential of young people with 65% majority. And then specifically when we go to the African region, it is so left out. I think this discourse that we have started with the Youth for Green Hydrogen, along with you, with all the support from everyone who is joining in, is really making sure that the discussion happens and we are part and parcel of the larger green economy that we all look forward to. So thank you so much, Ravivia, for your message. We have now Chichoba, who has joined in, so I will ask Chichoba if she's here, and to please share her message and her leadership in driving the green hydrogen and the green economy forward. Chichoba. Okay. Yes, she's there. Okay. Just give her some time. She's already there. I think the network and everything, she will quickly share her thoughts. But also meantime, if some of you would have, it is, our team was getting very excited in sharing that while we are here in the COP, why don't you post us a picture on social media with the hashtag Youth4GH2 in COP27. And that way we will make sure that the COP presidency is known, that how green hydrogen is being taken up by young people. And I think that could be instrumental as well. So some of you who would be interested, please take a screenshot, go to Twitter with the hashtag Youth4GH2 in COP27. I think the Youth for Green Hydrogen Secretariat can also send the hashtag on the chat box. Chichoba is here, and she will now share her thoughts. Chichoba. Chandan, can you see if Chichoba is here? Because she sent me a message.
Yes, Chichoba is here. Yes, she's here.
But we cannot hear her. Chichoba, do you want to unmute yourself and speak again? You are, of course, unmuted, but we cannot hear you. We will be happy if you maybe rejoin, and if you need some help, someone can. Chichoba, we are not able to hear you. I think it is with your mic that you may have to connect again. But meanwhile, if some of you would have some thoughts and also share what are the great works that you're doing, it will be very great for all of us to know and see and draw avenues of partnership on how we can work together. Ravi, are you still here? Ravi, are you still here?
Yes, Alish, I'm very much here.
Yeah, so we have a quick question that we have, and I think you may be best to address that. Jay asks that how urban local bodies can take initiatives for the green hydrogen. As some of the ULBs are taking initiatives for the electric charging stations and vehicles. So is it a good idea to do green hydrogen in parallel? One, and second, how can this transition be done practically, specifically for the Indian city context?
I think it's a fantastic question because, for a success for any initiative, it's the local government, involvement and leadership critical. I think we have seen from multiple examples of solar energy or wind energy and etc., where, a multi-grid system of various renewable energy sources can become fundamental. I think right now it is important that we need to create and get into partnership with local body initiatives such as UGLC local, or initiatives that are looking at local governance who are educated, made aware, hydrogen microgrids and linking them with private sector or even public sector, which are looking at creating opportunities that can create microgrid systems that are cost effective. And as Jonas said, working on green hydrogen doesn't mean that we suddenly jump one day and move to green hydrogen. We are looking at, creating those important local systems and grid systems that are, are able to harness wind, wind, solar, where possible, tidal, depends on where you are, and also infusing that with the green hydrogen technology. Now, having said that, I think it is critical for many governments to really look at their renewable energy sources and looking at investments that really bring together and harmonize the various sources of renewable energy into into one system or multiple systems, right? Because it is really critical to do that. So in India, it'll be critical to really look at the states. Like I think recently, Tamil Nadu announced a very important establishment of a task force which will look at creating green hydrogen as a possibility. And as you know, Tamil Nadu, if you go to my Twitter handle, you'll see has been leading the Indian example on renewables, especially solar and wind energy. So I think we need to identify, I know that Sailesh has been looking at some various states in Northeast India. So I think there it's important. Look at the government like Namibia, which has really taken up a national policy on green hydrogen, has set up a very clear commitment in terms of public personnel looking at taking this forward. It's one of the only countries, Sailesh, please correct me if I'm wrong, which has a youth for green hydrogen policy. So I think we are looking at it. It affects everything. It not only affects the Ministry for Renewable Sources, the employment and youth affairs is equally impacted, right? And so it's environment. So we are looking at really harmonizing, synthesizing to create greater impact, and the impact has to be green. So very, very good question. And I think, again, the importance will be in Indian context would be the local Panchayati Raj system, that how the Panchayati Raj system through the Ministry of Rural Development is also really bringing up very clear guidance and investment and funding opportunities by which the panchayats or the the BDOs, which are the block development officers, can really look at supporting villages that decide to go green. And there are examples, if you see recently in one of the visits by we saw that in Gujarat there was a launch of a solar village that has been running completely on solar. So I think the reality is that all these technologies have been there. As you know, hydrogen has been there for over 100 years, solar has been there for many years, but this is the time where the young people have to demand and pressurize the government enough of the oil and gas lobby. We need to stop the the burning of the earth and the greed that the capitalists bring in. And especially, again, looking from a patriarchal system with the greed of certain men who have been doing this. So how do we really make sure that this takes and supersedes that conversation? And COP27 is so critical because, again, it's not just protesting, but it's the action that will drive the change and the change of behavior. People demanding that we need green sources of energy. Thank you.
Absolutely, Ravi. I think what you said is so true. And while you mentioned about Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, Jay, just today, the Jackson Green invested about 0.36 million. I mean, they signed an MOU for 0.36 million tons for green hydrogen, amounting to $3 billion economy that would be generated in Rajasthan. Of course, there is a lot of discussion that we must have on what should be parameters and the standards of measuring these companies, that all this hydrogen, which is per se green, actually becomes green and is used through the entire renewable process from the start till the end. That means delivery to your vehicles or maybe to your airplanes as well. I think that is important. And another, which is so crucial to look, that India now has committed to export the green hydrogen to Singapore by the year 2025. We're already in the end of 2022, which is technically what, 2.5, 3 years. So I think that kind of an understanding that the world has really brought together. And as Ravi mentioned about the oil economy that has to be disrupted, it is a green hydrogen which is actually doing that. I mean, a lot of governments, I was reading a report where the government of innovation and scientific technology in the government of India wants to have this the green hydrogen valley to be prepared, and they're calling for proposals, and they've also reached out to the Youth for Green Hydrogen and submitting a proposal to them. I think that really understanding is taking it forward. But of course, it is not, as Jonas, as everyone mentioned, it is not about, I thought about the change and then tomorrow it is all about green hydrogen. I mean, sorry to say, but it would be some of the countries which plan to overnight turn into organic fertilizers from the chemicals, and the economy just fell down back in the south in the Indian Ocean, and economy completely disrupted. It is an incremental change that I believe would happen and would sustainably, because back in northeastern region in Assam, Jorhat has already planned to bring, already have the first the green hydrogen factory, and another is being set up in Leh Ladakh. Very interesting partnerships are being drawn by Renew Power, Adani's, Ambani's. Of course, these are the bigger groups, but Renew Power, an Indian company which is now also signing in partnership with Egypt, which I suppose should happen, be announced in COP as well. I was reading a report. Or maybe to Avada Group as well. I think there's a lot of scope. It is only that the transitional phase that has to happen. I think when we go back to some of the key decisions that were made, it was so difficult for even women to come out and vote. And everyone thought that was not possible. We all had our doubts, but it happened. When Abraham Lincoln was the president, we also saw how difficult it was for different colors to stay in one country. Yet the change happened. I think it is the change that happened, but we will have to incrementally take that forward. The pros and the cons is there. And as I was asking Jonas, the skill sets and the jobs, of course, is important. The Youth for Green Hydrogen really launched that we need to skill young people in green hydrogen to create the green jobs. And how can that happen? Well, while we brought this declaration along with Green Hydrogen Organization in the Green Hydrogen Assembly, which was also co-hosted by the government of Spain, I think we were very clear that as young people, we are not just going to come out on the streets and say that we want to have climate justice, but we'll also provide solutions. And that is a key space and aspect that we all have been building over the last 7 months. I think with over having 70 plus countries coming on board on driving the green hydrogen discourse forward, the key issues that we realized are awareness and advocacy, of course, then the capacity building that we have to do through innovation, as Ravi mentioned, in building young entrepreneurs. India is a land of young people, and of course, other countries as well, who is driving partnerships in taking that forward, in making sure that this innovation, this entrepreneurship builds on youth-led innovation. But of course, not forgetting on the 50% young women leadership and the marginalized and the indigenous communities that have to be brought together. And with this, the intergenerational partnerships and many more. If we go back, it is also just crucial to understand. I mean, the Fortescue Future Industries, and I will share this for all of you for greater understanding. One bathtub, if electrocuted, can light 22 minutes of Sydney Opera House. It can run 1,300 plus miles in a sedan car. The entire Paris can be run on green hydrogen on one bathtub if electrocuted for 0.3 seconds. For an average house, it can power 4 weeks of power. And of course, all the smartphones that we use to connect to the world, 40,000 full charges can be made, which is technically maybe 100 plus years that you can charge your phone in just one bathtub if electrocuted, and the green hydrogen is produced and stored, of course. I think it's magnanimous opportunity that we have, and there's a lot of scope that we together can drive it forward. So thank you so much. I mean, if there are others who may have some questions, thoughts, please feel free to ask and share your thoughts, and also the great work that all of you are doing, because some of you have joined from different parts of the world. If any one of you would want to unmute yourself and also share the great works, your thoughts, please feel free to do that. We have Bryony, who has really put down something. I mean, he and his friend were trying to start a greenhouse tomato farm to help reduce the high cost of foodstuffs that was caused by flooding in some parts of Nigeria. Okay, and we want to use the opportunity to also educate a lot of farmers on climate-friendly farming activities. I'll be glad if there's any way we can be funded to carry out this project. We also plan to plant more trees that will help reduce the effect of climate change. Brani, thank you so much for your question. In terms of financing, I think that's the space that even Ravi was talking. It is so crucial to invest in youth leadership, to invest in youth-led innovation and entrepreneurship models. If there is anything that you feel that we can help you with, please let us know. We'll be happy to connect. And all the best for all the great work that you're doing. And of course, our secretariat will also share some of the innovation that we are aware of on farming and also on the plantation that is also happening through a lot of drones across the world. If that really helps you, we'll be very happy. So all the best for all the good work that you're doing. Any other thoughts that anyone may have to share? We have PPA India who has joined in. If they would like to share some thoughts maybe on what work they are doing.
Hi, so I'm Sakshi Tekchandani, founder of PP India. So we are actually into animal welfare, tree plantation drives, and also into beach cleanups. And we've partnered with like many organizations in India. And whenever I travel, like, anywhere in India, for supposing to Darjeeling or anywhere, I make sure I conduct at least one tree plantation drive wherever I go in India. So yeah.
Sakshi, I come from Siliguri. So next time when you go to Darjeeling, you can always, we launched the Youth for Green Hydrogen from Siliguri.
Okay.
It is so good to hear that you when you come to Darjeeling, you clean up the beach. One of our prime organization is the Youth of India Foundation, which runs regular cleanups across the region and the city. Next time while you're here, please let us be partners, as I keep saying, all my volunteers, that we are the kachra people. We take the bad of what is fallen and we provide the climate solutions through the green hydrogen.
That's great. Yeah.
So we have Chichoba's message. She was not, but she has shared her quick message. So we will have that run through.
Hi everyone, trust you're doing great today. My name is Chizoba, and unfortunately I was trying to talk via the Zoom call. I don't know, it's not just working very well for me. Yeah, I'm very happy to be on the side event leading to COP27 with several youth on the Youth for Green Hydrogen. I like the work you're doing, and I say kudos to you. Yeah, maybe I have the opportunity to tell you that, but yeah, I'm saying kudos to you, and I appreciate all your work. I see what you're doing through advocacy. I see all the things you've been doing through all the trainings, right? Yes, and they're all beautiful. They're all beautiful, trust me. And I'm happy that you're here today to join us on this session. Yeah, as it is for hydrogens, I believe most of you will be attending COP27 as well as COP17. And I look forward to seeing you, maybe virtually, right? Yes, yeah, I really look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chichoba. She was very sure that she will give her message, and that was the last message that we got get. In that case, while we see that there are no other thoughts, this was the idea that we wanted to share why green hydrogen is important. What is important to make sure that we not just come out with campaignings, but we also come out with solutions, and make sure that we bring this transformational partnerships with Bhutan, which of course is a small country, but which is so crucial in driving I mean, we were very sure when we launched the Youth for Green Hydrogen, it is not just the developed countries that we want. We want to make sure that we will bring all of them together in the holistic development. I mean, that is exactly what as young people we should aim and aspire for. Not just focus on what is happening by the larger groups, but also make sure that you can have all of them together. And that is exactly where we'll have the sustainable development leading forward. And at Youth for Green Hydrogen, just a quick thought on what we have done, of course, is known. But we, in the past few months, have made sure that while we campaign, we also give them solutions to different aspects. And please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to share more of our works, thoughts, and tweet on social media with the hashtag, or post on your Instagram story with a boomerang, hashtag Youth for Green Hydrogen in COP27. Thank you so much to the organizers, with the young professionals in policy making Tokyo group, YPFP in foreign policy, for having us as one of their partners in driving this crucial event and discussion on energy transition in green hydrogen. And to all our viewers, audience, and supporters who joined in from across the world with different time zones, cutting short on your sleep, or maybe cutting short on your evening plans. Thank you once again. We wish you all the best, and we welcome the green hydrogen movement with open hands. And as we say, namaste, green hydrogen. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
By the way, okay. People are leaving, but by the way, I have a very interesting document about green hydrogen by Vietnam Gas Group, one the kind of a very supportive organization for green hydrogen. So if you are interested in, I can send to the organizer this interesting document.
Sure, Yan, please do share. And I have also shared you the email address for the organization and myself on a personal chat. Please feel free to share that document, and we'll be happy to take it forward.
I will get it shared. I'm so sorry because I have get today is almost midnight in Vietnam, so it's not very convenient for discussion. But thank you so much for the very fruitful sharing by the guest speakers. Thank you so much, and hope to see you next time. I have shared some very nice moments on my Facebook with the hashtag. So yeah, maybe you've seen it. Thank you for the email.
We will follow you. And thank you so much for joining from Vietnam. It is such a, of course, a beautiful country, and at such a midnight.